Hello, my friends. You would think I'd get a complex by now when people are starting to refer to me as that chick that talks about death all the time. I don't have a complex, and it's probably true. It has been a very large piece of my journey over the years, starting mucho years ago. I'm not going to tell you numbers because then you'll do the math. But I wanted to share today a different take on the 80-20 rule. We've all heard before, especially if you're a volunteer anywhere, that 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Instantly, you're going, yep, that is true. That is me. I promise I understand that. Been there, done that. Yikes. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Wouldn't it be cool if everybody did the all hands on deck thing and let's all work this together and get some big stuff accomplished? But that's usually not how it rolls. You'll notice behind me it says myfinalfootprints.com. It's my gift to you, totally free, myfinalfootprints.com. And in that particular website is not only a PDF that you can print, which starts the conversation with your loved ones. Where's my this? Where's my something? Do I want my social media up or down after I'm gone? Do I want my funeral live streamed on the internet? Everything that you want to know is in there, literally. It's a disclaimer thing as far as I'm not a financial advisor. It's merely to start the conversation about death, final wishes. We're not getting out of this alive, right? And the other piece, there's a link to my other grief and bereavement book called He Hit the Clouds Running and Never Looked Back. That's recorded on my YouTube channel. Again, it's free. This is not a sales pitch. Death just happens to be a very huge piece of my journey over the years, a lot of years. So let's get back to the 80-20 rule. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. What does that have to do with death and dying and survivorship? So I attended a financial seminar recently, and they instantly said 80-20. So I thought, how cool. 20% of the people here do 80% of the presentation. That's not what they were talking about. That's not what they were talking about. 80% of men die married. When they said that, of course, it sparked my interest right off the bat. 80% of men die married. Which means what? 20% of women die married. 80% of women die single. Do the math. 20% of men die single. Absorb this for just a minute. This is a different take on the 80-20 rule. Okay? Again, if you're a volunteer, you know what 80-20 means. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. What does it mean when it has to comes up with death and dying and survivorship? 80% of men die married. I made him say it again because I'm looking at this slide going, OMG. 80% of men die and they're still married. 20% of women die while they're still married. You see that flip on the 80-20? That just had such an impact on me, I couldn't even believe it. Which means, once again, think about that. Something to absorb, something to think about. 80% of ladies, women, die single. 20% of men die married. I just wanted to hop on and mention that. Like I say, I appreciate when people say that chick that talks about death all the time. But again, myfinalfootprints.com. Don't leave your family in a scavenger hunt. It's my gift to you to start those conversations nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about it. You want your casket open or closed? What do you want done with your cremains? My friends, all this 80-20 stuff resonated in my head. And I was like, holy moly, the world needs to hear this. This financial seminar was great. I think there were 50 people on the call, which is awesome. I appreciate the education part. But as soon as they said it, I was like, can you repeat that? Sure. It's just a fact. And I was like, wowza. Because like I say, I've been a volunteer for church and school and all kinds of stuff for 100 years. And I thought, all right, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. But when they put it in the death format, that of course, with me now, I'm listening, 80% of men die married, 20% of women die married. Do the math, my friends. It's all about those percentages. Again, myfinalfootprints.com, my gift to you. Don't leave your family in a scavenger hunt. And I guess, yeah, I'm that death chick. What an interesting name. Bye for now.